welcome to Thinking Green. I'm Rana, and here with me tonight are a couple of ladies from Fresh New London, Frida Berrigan and Liz Spurr, and we are going to talk about all the great things that Fresh does, has done, and things to look forward to. So, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here, Rana.
Yeah, I know we're all, it's been kind of a funny week, but
Yeah.
this is a great subject, and it's one of a highlight of New London for the past dozen years or so. I know neither of you was really involved in the very, very beginning of Fresh, but maybe you can start out talking a little bit about the history, because it has been in existence for at least a dozen years now.
Yeah, well, I remember first hearing about it when I lived downtown, and I had no access to green space to grow my own food, and there was a flyer, and I think I was in the first 1 or 2 years of when it started out, maybe the first year, and it's changed my life so much to be able to have a place, a destination like that in town to physically walk to, but also just the way that it changed my diet almost instantly. Like, I have this much lettuce. What am I going to do? I'm going to learn how to eat lettuce.
Yeah.
And like just those simple, subtle changes that really helped me get a lot more involved in it. For myself, I became really interested in gardening and met a lot of other garden folk. I took a master gardener course. And I would do definitely a lot of volunteering and stuff. And I'd say Arthur Lerner and Emily Lerner. I think of Emily Lerner as being the heart of that garden, and she still really is, just formerly the chair of the board. Arthur was just in it for so long and really dedicated, so it was always such a pleasure to know them. I don't know, I helped them do some garden coordinating work, and it's changed my life in so many ways I can't even begin to count. And through that garden, I might not have even met my friend Frida here. And now I'm on the board of the FAB board, Fresh Advisory Board. Finally, feeling like I'm able to do that and offer, just the perspective of a local schmokel who grew up in this food system and grew through this vibrant, small food system that was created.
Now, you came to it a little later because you came to New London a little later.
I did, yeah. Maybe just one thing to add to Liz's history is that Fresh New London, the organization, was incubated by St. Francis House, and that's where Arthur Lerner and Laura Burfoot met, while Laura was living there and Arthur was working, renovating one of the houses. So we have to kind of tip our hats to the St. Francis House community there in initially fiscally sponsoring Fresh and providing a lot of inspiration and resources to help it become a fully functioning nonprofit organization. And I think I was introduced to it pretty soon after, well, actually, before I came to New London, because I went to college with both Emily and Arthur, and was hearing about New London and the great things that were happening here when I was still living in New York City. But when we came here, one of the first things I did was get 2 plots at the community garden at Williams and Mercer, and I met Liz, who manages to grow a phenomenal amount of food in a relatively small space. Our beds are 6 by 3, and so anyway, I've been gardening there with varying degrees of success for about 5 years, and I came onto the staff of Fresh New London about a year ago.
And it is funny because I remember when Fresh, maybe the first year, had beds all around the city in people's backyards and at the synagogue on Ocean Avenue. And it seemed, and actually Eleonora was my student around that time as a three-year-old. So I kind of remember when Mercer and Williams started, And if you think about what was there and what is there now, it's just amazing.
And we have this opportunity to sort of see that history again right now because Fresh New London is helping to facilitate the establishment of a new community garden at the intersection of McDonald and Connecticut Avenue, right at the very beginning of Connecticut Avenue. So we've been working with community members and with the City of New London, the Water Department. There've been a lot of support for this initiative. On April 15th, the whole community came out and we gave power tools to small children, which was pretty phenomenal to watch them wield these drills and all, and built about a dozen garden beds. I actually want to invite watchers of this show to come out tomorrow evening from 5 to 7. We'll be filling those beds with soil and hoping to plant them soon after our big plant sale, which I know we're going to talk more about. But 5 to 7 tomorrow night, we'll be filling those beds with soil, and we really invite New London to come and be a part of the transformation of this public space, which has been, just a kind of a neglected, sort of derelict park. A
Parking lot.
Right.
Turned into a parking lot.
Right.
Marks, right?
It was a real problem area in the
Right.
neighborhood.
Right. And now we're giving the community, or the community's taking, the opportunity to be outside for all of these positive and growing reasons. And Fresh New London feels very privileged to be a part of bringing that to fruition.
Well, Fresh New London, after creating the Mercer and Williams Garden, which has been growing for a long time and has quite amazing facilities at this point, has incubated a lot of gardens around the city. And I'm involved both with the one at Calkins Park and the one at Riverside Park, well, just outside of Riverside Park. And the Riverside Garden was also kind of a problem property, maybe not the same way McDonald Park was, but a corner that the city, Public Works people kept mowed and nothing else, and nothing was going on there. It was just barren. And now there's a community garden there with, I think, 54 beds maybe. Wow. Some of them are dedicated to young people who live in Crystal Avenue and some of the other low-income housing that's within walking distance. So they come and plant 8 beds every year. And it's pretty new, but you can start to see the people meeting each other and the community start growing, and also, what Liz said, thinking about what we eat.
Yeah, there's an educational component to Fresh, which I'm sure we're going to touch base on, but I want to give another shout, because you mentioned Laura Burfoot, and she's someone who really drew me in, just with the way that she worked with the youth, and the events that they had were just, just really from the heart, but like very full of the spirit of activism, and really empowering kids, and also just people in the community, friends, people meeting at the community garden for community lunches was a really neat thing that we've done. That they would do this every Wednesday. This is around that cycle of the educational program. That was pretty exciting. It was run by Frida, she runs does she still run the?
I think she still runs a community meal center.
The community meal center, yeah. And she still has a bed, and she's growing herbs right now. But anyway, I just wanted to, throw a shout out back to I felt like Laura was a big, also, the heart, a big part of the heart of the garden.
Well, you bring up the whole idea that empowering youth and food system are very interconnected. It's like, I don't know, I'm sure there are organizations that make that connection, but it seems as though it's not obvious to everyone that having control over where your food comes from, having access to healthful food is really a part of people's empowerment over their lives.
Yeah, definitely, it can change the direction I mean, I've known of a lot of people with whom that's happened, but just from my own experience, like, and I can see it with, you know, you read the stories of the kids that grow up working with Fresh, you know, either, you know, just going to the garden or, you know, going through the programs that we have. Just kind of, a lot of these kids are just creating incredible outcomes for themselves, and just above and beyond, you know, anything I'd be doing. So I'm just really impressed with the effect, the positive effect.
It seems really important too. You know, I taught preschool for many years, and one thing I found with many of the very young kids in New London is they never saw food as even ingredients from a store often, because, you know, parts of New London are kind of a food desert, and 15, 20 years ago it was even worse. So they ate a lot of fast food, and in many cases their parents worked weird hours and they didn't see meals being prepared very much, and they didn't see the raw ingredients, let alone seeing the raw ingredients growing. So it's just, you know, amazing to see that the younger kids through high schoolers are starting to get that idea about where their food comes from.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that Fresh really focused on maybe in the last 5 to 7 years is establishing partnerships with all of the local schools. And so at this point, every school in New London has a garden component, right? We're working with the kids at Benny Dover right now to transform their courtyard into a growing space. But there's a greenhouse at Winthrop and garden beds there, both inside the complex and then outside. Of course, the high school has you know, a large growing space. There's garden beds at Nathan Hale and at the Regional Multicultural Magnet School, and kids from Isaac come over. It's great to be right across the street from Benny Dover and CB Jennings, and have the kids coming over and then seeing them you know, working in their own garden, and really kind of connecting the dots and bridging the gaps around what you were talking about. So kids growing things, trying things, learning how to prepare things, being able to bring things, produce home with them, has been, you know, I mean, has been, you know, nothing short of revolutionary in terms of changing people's eating habits and their relationship to the land, their relationship to one another. So I think that's, in many ways, like the core work of Fresh is, you know, building new generations of informed eaters. Means that you know, we're building a new generation of young people who think about the world and interact with the world really differently in lots of other ways, or asking questions in ways that where did that come from? Why is it like this? What happened to this before it came to me? You know, those are big questions. So,
And no one's really encouraged them to think about it before, I imagine.
Right.
Now, you mentioned the schools, and I don't know exactly what relationship Fresh has with Brigade and the you know, the transformation of school meals in New London, but maybe there is some interaction, I think, but maybe you can explain what it is, and we can pitch the community meals as well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Fresh can take full credit for Dan Gusti and the Brigade program, but we would like to think that we had a little bit of a role in, you know, as our school system was reorganizing and Superintendent Rivera came in, and you know, there was this kind of a new sense of ownership and real introspection around New London Public Schools, and this kind of connection to the land was already there, and the farm to school program was already established, and so I'd like to think that we helped to lay the groundwork for that, and now to have this opportunity for, you know, all of us, you know, Liz and I both have, you know, young children who aren't in the New London Public School system yet, and and your children are older and obviously
Right.
no longer in the school system, but to have an opportunity to go to the middle school every Wednesday just about and eat a really delicious, well-prepared, interesting meal for $5, and be able to interact with all sorts of folks from kind of every part of New London has been really, really like a new dimension to this community that's been really fun.
Yeah, we're pretty fortunate that this sort of world famous chef decided
Right.
to pick, our little area, or just, it wasn't just chance. I think it was a little luck, and definitely the picture. I think there must have been a draw. Like this area, some people just feel like sort of a magnetism to this place. It's a little rough around the edges. It's not easy, but it's got like a lot of personality, and I'm hoping I'm hoping that they are able to stick around and help raise the food that they're cooking for all the kids, like up to that next level, and just kind of somehow hopefully it can be maintained and continue on into the future.
I hope so. I think it's really important, and I think the community meals were kind of a genius idea because when I was on the Board of Ed years ago, one of the biggest obstacles I thought to getting the community to really support the schools was that they were never in the schools. Now, we clearly have a long way to go, and I'll be political for a minute, that, we still don't see a community commitment to, like, funding the schools properly.
Especially at the very moment.
Especially at the very moment. But it's been true I know both years when I was on the Board of Ed, the school budget was either flat funded or the only increase was like the contractual raises that we had to provide. There was no raise of discretionary funds at all. So it's been a lot of years without having much increase in the school budget. And New London schools, unlike many surrounding areas, our school student population is on the rise, which I think maybe 6-7 years ago we might not have anticipated. But people are sending their kids to New London schools from other communities. And so we haven't gotten to where we need to be, but anyone who is in favor of not funding schools should come to the community meals.
Yeah.
And good food doesn't really cost more to give kids than junky pre-prepared stuff.
It does not.
It does not, and it is real food, and I've heard that what the students get is, if anything, better than the community meal fare. So
Tons of options, really, too. Like, I think the picky kids can go to the, sandwich bar or something like that.
yeah, and it's all real.
Maybe I'll just say one other thing about the community meal and Fresh New London is that we've worked with the school food folks to raise some extra money so that we can give out coupons to the community meal at the Gemma Moran Mobile Food Pantry, which gives out food once a month. I think it's the fourth Wednesday, so it's next Wednesday, fourth Wednesday of the month at Jennings at 4:30 or something. And 150, 200 of our neighbors and people in our community use that resource to kind of fill the gap towards the end of the month. And it has been really great to be able to offer this kind of free meal and this invitation to folks who are on the line. So some people, they get their box of stuff, of food, and then they go across the street to Benny Dover and they have a nice hot meal, and people have really, really appreciated that invitation and that opportunity. So, and Fresh has been really happy to be sort of a bridge between those two spaces.
And one thing people should know about the community meal, I love getting it and eating in and just hanging out with people, but you can take it out as well. So if you have to just, drop in and get something and rush home, you really can still get the great food.
What a bonus. I think that there have been a couple times where they've been totally swamped, right?
Yeah,
where that was less possible maybe, but.
Yeah, I think, and I think
That
it is
flux.
hard to gauge the crowds. And as the weather gets nicer, will there be more people or fewer people? I don't know. I think they do plan at least enough quantity to be able to feed at least 300 people.
Yeah, quite a bit.
But there have been times when they've sold out. So I wouldn't recommend, the meals are from 5 to 7. I would not recommend getting there after 6:30.
Right, yeah.
Because sometimes they sell out. Now, I think we should talk a little bit about the program, the different programs that Fresh has. And I have a slide, and I guess it's 3 basic categories of, and some of them, you've talked a little bit about the empowering of youth, but a little bit about all of them. But let me have one other, and this is kind of what the general categories. But tell me about your youth programs.
So Fresh New London hires and stipends young people ages 13 to 19 for spring break, for the summer, and then also some smaller group of young people throughout the school year. So we have a full-time youth organizer who's bilingual, Eric Carrion. He speaks Spanish and English, and he's quite young himself, if I may say.
Yes, I think he's 25.
He is a young person, and so over spring break, for example, a group of young people, about a dozen young people, earned a stipend of about $150 to work each day of spring break with Fresh New London. They did some labor, weeding and mulching and moving, planting, all of that kind of stuff. And then they also watched a lot of documentaries about our food system. They kind of were introduced to this whole new vocabulary around justice and sovereignty and food deserts and all of these concepts that we're all learning about now, and had opportunities to play games with each other and learn about New London and New London's food system. So it was a great opportunity. It ended up being quite competitive this year. We one of the things that they did was do silk screens of these of the Fresh logo.
We'll get that closer up when
in a partnership with Spark Makerspace. The young people, Liz and another board member, Frida, and others gathered all of these T-shirts and upcycled.
Yeah, we upcycled some shirts from the Goodwill and donated and that kind of thing.
So they're available in different colors.
Different colors, different sizes. This I took off my 3-year-old daughter's body to bring.
Oh yeah.
Has a little garden dirt on it.
It does have a little garden dirt on it.
Oh, you want? Okay.
Yeah, we'll go. We can go there a little later.
Yes, we'll get to that.
But
just throwing that in there. It's an activity that the youth took part in
and really enjoyed, and that was kind of a new thing this year, was this crafting kind of piece of it. So and then during the summer months we'll bring some of our spring break young people back. We'll have more young people. I think we'll hire about 15 young people throughout the summer. Both with money that Fresh New London raised, and then of course the City of New London and Department of Youth Affairs has this summer employment program, and so we'll draw some from that as well. And it's our
How do people apply?
So if you can go on our website, freshnewlondon.org/apply, APPLY, and there's a quite simple and straightforward application. But people can also stop by our office and get a paper application and fill it out. And then Eric and our youth leadership team does a bit of a selection and pre-interviews and all of that. And honestly, we wish we could hire 20 or 30 young people instead of just a dozen or a baker's dozen. 15 young people is probably what we'll end up having the resources to hire for the summer. But I think the young people like the kind of the hands-on learning and the opportunity to apply lessons right there. They learn a little bit about marketing, right? They will be at the Field of Greens Market in Williams Park starting, I think it starts July 7th, right? So we'll have a stand there, and we'll be, the young people will be selling their vegetables. They'll get to see all these seeds that we planted in, April. Now we're selling these full vegetables, and to think sort of about value and work, and gosh, all the work that I did, can I really sell this head of lettuce for 50 cents? No, it should be $5, But
the realities of capitalism set in.
That's right. They'll also have an opportunity to make value-added products, and we hope again to turn to our friends at Spark and their commercial kitchen for making of pestos and salsas and products that we can also
canning.
Doing some canning, being able to sell some of that as well.
Now, Liz, you've worked a lot, organizing some canning classes that are not exactly part of Fresh, but are part of, like, expanding our idea of the food system and the food that's available to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, through Thames Valley Sustainable Connections for a couple of years, I helped teach some workshops and also just sort of collaborated them, bringing in talent to do things like cheese making and those sort of things. But last year I had one workshop with them that overlapped with Fresh and was hosted at the Fresh Garden, and it was growing food in small spaces. And this year, now that I'm with Fresh, I'm taking those marketing skills that I want to. That's where I kind of end up doing a lot of what I do with Fresh, but also hosting a workshop and joining in and teaching a few. And we're going to be doing some canning and that kind of thing as well, and sort of advertising them as a skill sharing kind of to get people to maybe bring in what they have and put it up anyway. And so as Fresh wants to expand their workshop schedule, so it sort of was a good overlap that has now morphed into more gardening based workshops, I would say, but I'm sure you guys are going to have a lot of food things on the table.
I know, well, and for that, with that, growing food is another focus. And I have here, just on the slide, I don't even know if it's a complete list, but it's on your website, of all the different school gardens and community gardens that were supported by Fresh. And, the Riverside Garden would not have happened without Fresh, making that initial investment. They did soil testing. Interestingly, Riverside Park area is one of the only spots they've ever tested in the city where the toxin levels are not too bad. We still have raised beds, but they're not as tall because it's okay if roots kind of touch the real dirt.
Okay.
But the fence, the water, the beds, the original set of 36 beds and the soil were all courtesy of Fresh. And now the community can maintain it without really needing that extra support. But the community never could have initiated it.
We're hoping going forward to do some work under the name that we're sort of using is Edible New London, and ways in which we can, we're a small community and we're packed in pretty tight, right? There's not like a huge swath of land that we could just kind of turn into a community garden at this point, right? but making use of some of the smaller spaces and trying to tie together the larger growing spaces that we have with fruit trees and blueberry bushes and herb patches and all of that. So that's sort of something that's mostly at the visioning and imagining stage right now, but we're certainly looking in that direction. Also, kind of taking some inspiration from work that's probably being done lots of places, and stuff that Bob Stuller is certainly doing informally. But in Milwaukee, people are doing what they're calling victory gardens, and turning their front lawns or backyards into growing spaces. And more Fresh is hearing from renters and homeowners in New London saying, I want a box, or I want 2 boxes, one for myself and one for my neighbors, and that's certainly a direction that I'd like to see us go in.
Well, it's interesting because right now New London is in its in the process of updating the plan of conservation and development. And the process has kind of been that we look at what Norwich did a few years ago and see what's applicable to New London and what isn't. And Norwich had a whole section on agriculture, and in the New London one, Alicia McAvey actually came to a planning and zoning meeting and talked about what encouraging urban farming would be here, and community gardens, and growing food on small scale, because you do the workshop gardening in small spaces, thinking what do people do with a 3x6 box, but that's all of New London is kind of like that. How much food can we grow in our 5 square miles?
Right.
So it's actually kind of exciting to think about every little corner having something that we can eat.
Yeah. So a great segue to the raffle.
Is it?
Yes.
Because
Well,
one of the
everything is a great
Here she
segue
goes.
to the raffle.
She's right. She's right.
because one of the items that we're raffling off is a bed.
Yep, a garden bed at your home. And that just includes the dirt and the nice dirt that we'll put in there. But it's a nice raised bed, 3x6. You can grow a lot of food in that space. I can't really quantify the numbers of what those are, but that's one of the prizes that we're offering at our spring raffle, which is, the drawing is taking place on May 20th following the plant sale, which is coming up this Saturday.
And we do. I have a flyer, but I also have a
Tickets will be
slide.
available.
Do you want me to hold up?
You have that? Yeah, hold up the flyer. You have it. Yeah.
They're actually behind you.
How you want it? Oh, what do you? How do you want it?
I'll let you figure it out once I.
Okay. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. So what's happening this Saturday?
What you got on 8 now?
Okay. You had one plant sale already, correct?
Yeah, the early plant sale. That was more for your early spring, cool weather loving crops. Your Chinese greens and your lettuces and kale and that kind of thing. And let's talk more.
We let a couple cucumbers go by mistake at the April plant sale, but the May plant sale, May 20th, at the Fresh Urban Farm and at Mercer and Williams. We'll have all of your summer crops. So tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, herbs, flowers. We'll still have plenty of greens, your kales and mustards and collards.
So it isn't necessarily too late.
It's not too late. In fact, given the kind of weather we've been having, we're right on schedule, right?
Yeah, I haven't been, well, for many reasons, I haven't been planting as much as I normally would have, but I'm glad that just coincidentally I haven't been able to, because it's been really cold, rainy, cloudy.
Yeah, it has been. In a way, it's pretty nice that you plant things and you don't really feel like you have to get out and water it, or it'll just parch. We I went to a pollinator-related day a few months ago, and one of the presenters really liked the idea of getting wild strawberries, native wild strawberries, as a ground cover. So I bought like a flat of like 38 plugs and put them in, I think last Friday, and did not have to worry at all about whether they dry out because we've had about 2 inches of rain since then. So it's really been a good spring in a way, but it hasn't been warm, and anything like, I don't know, a squash or a tomato plant probably it won't
Wouldn't be
do
happy.
much.
Not happy. No.
So our friends over at Huntsbrook Farm actually put something out on Facebook about 2 weeks ago, really warning people not to fall victim to the big displays of tomatoes and peppers and that are at your Home Depots and your big grocery stores and hardware stores. Don't buy them, don't plant them. Wait for us. And actually, our plant sale is the same day as the Huntsbrook plant sale. So we're really encouraging people to come to our
They
plant
have
sale
they have 2
early,
days.
and they have 2 days.
There's Sunday as well, so you could go to ours on Saturday and theirs
Right.
on Sunday.
And ours will
Or go to theirs both days.
or just kind of keep coming back and forth. But we do want to put a plug in for
Yeah.
the Huntsbrook farm plant sale.
It's a great plant sale as well.
As well, yes.
So after
2.
that, we'll just expect to see people planting all over New London
Yes,
because, Memorial Day weekend, a great time to do some planting.
Yep.
The sun will come out and
Yeah.
it'll stay there.
Well, yeah, we kind of hope it will come out. We'll talk a little bit about the raffle, and then we'll go back to some of the other stuff Fresh does after.
Okay, so the main role of the Fresh Advisory Board is to bring in some extra money for this great organization. And the way that we're doing it at this time of year is by selling these raffle tickets for $5 each, or 5 for $20. We have over $1,000 worth of prizes collected, and all the prizes average around $150 each, and they're pretty fun. Should I run through the list?
Sure.
Number 1, Rest and Revive in downtown New London. 3 yoga classes from Blissworks and a 75-minute craniosacral therapy treatment from Emily Lerner at Wellspring Craniosacral Therapy. Also, number 2, Exploring Downtown New London. Gift certificate pack featuring Thames River Greenery, Muddy Waters, Washington Street Coffee House, and a beautiful place setting, and tableware from Flavors of Life Fair Trade Store, and some coffee mugs. Also, Uptown New London Sampler, which is a Fiddlehead's gift basket. Gift certificates from Fisher Florist and Refresh Organic Spa. That would be a lovely gift for anyone. One called Body and Soul, which is, there's a new fitness club called Up Fitness, very hip and shiny. And it looks like they have a lot of great classes, but we have a 5-day pass for them and a Reiki treatment from my friend Tina at Vital Vibrations. And we also have one called Vegan Powerhouse, which is another great 5-day pass. And also for Up Fitness and also gift certificates for Right Path Organic Cafe, which is a really yummy vegan spot downtown. If you haven't tried it, get these prizes and get down there.
Yeah.
Garden Bed at McDonald Park is another garden bed prize that we are raffling off, and it's a bed rental for over a year, and with $50 worth of plants and 2 hour-long sessions with an expert gardener and ongoing support as needed from Fresh New London. The other prize is the garden bed at your home, which we discussed, and also we're offering Caraloha Classic Queen Bamboo Sheet Set, which has many beautiful properties, including soft, cool, odor and allergy resistant, lightweight, breathable, renewable, environmentally sustainable sources, lifetime guarantee for $179. But for free, well, not for free, but if you get some raffle tickets, you might be able to win these beautiful prizes.
So where can people find the raffle tickets, other than bumping into you?
Yeah, right. You could bump into any of the Fresh people from the board. We also have them at the office, and you can.
Which is the third floor of the Martin Center.
Yeah, third floor of the Martin Center. Go up there if you're feeling it. They're usually there. Somebody's usually there Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
You know, call them, email them.
Yep. Our email address is info@freshnewlondon.org, and our telephone number, let's see if I can do this, is 860-574-9006.
Yep. And you can also
574-9006.
Yeah, 9006. And you can also get some tickets at our beautiful plant sale. And the drawing will be at the end of the plant sale, and winners need not be present.
But if you're going to be at the plant sale, you might be present.
You might as well, especially because Bob Stuller is going to be leading a composting workshop, how to compost at home for fun, nutrients, and savings. Although I guess technically not savings, because we don't pay for our trash yet here in New London by weight.
No, but we might.
But we might soon.
We might be looking at that.
So you want to get out in front of the new plans for trash by weight that have been floated through City Council. But anyway, Bob will be doing this workshop at noon, so you have plenty of reason to stay through the drawing or come back from the Huntsbrook plant sale at noon to do the workshop and then stay for the drawing.
Yeah. Are there any other features of our plant sale that you can think of?
Well, children are more than welcome. There might be like
It's a fun
bubbles and chalk drawing and fun things like that. It's just like a lovely place to be. So people are welcome to come and just get plants, or come get plants and hang out for a while.
There'll be a lot of people you can ask for plant advice from.
Right.
There will be some master gardeners floating around
That's right.
on an official or unofficial
Right.
basis.
And we'll also be selling some beautiful merchandise, won't we?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have a little bit of fresh merch here. I guess we should look at it.
Here are some examples of merchandise. So getting water bottles made for us seemed like potentially a cheap thing to do. There's all these issues with, you can just order these things and you can get them real cheap. You can get aluminum and it's kind of toxic, and you can have these printed by people far across the world and shipped, maybe not so cheaply. But what we figured out is we could buy them at a decent price, and a more decent price than any other prices we figured out, and figured out a way to print them ourselves, which is kind of neat. These are done with a block print. When we've done a few things with stencils, this is I think an English pint, 'cause it's really big. We have mugs. And like we said, we did this big, so one of the other board members and I actually went to art school together. We went to NFA together, and we're like reunited, and we're like, let's redo Mrs. Batista's class and just go for it. And Alicia's like, let's join with Spark, which is a really cool organization, and see how we can start beginning to do some exchanges with that organization. And so they've helped us with a space and helped us burn a screen. So we've just been doing some simple designs, thinking of ways to get the word out, get the names out there in different ways, even just down to like the professional touches, just to continue barraging people with our image and logo, because that's how the big cats do it, and we're gonna subvert that.
And use it for good,
And use it
not
for
evil.
Use it for good, because that's what subvert means, right?
Now, you talked a little bit about McDonald Park, but how did that whole thing come about, and like what have been the steps you've taken to get to where you are?
Yeah, it's been a huge amount of work. I mean, sometime towards the end of last summer, the city of New London approached us and kind of said, "Hey, we got this space. We don't have the resources to really do anything with it. what do you think about turning it into a community garden?
Oh, I didn't know that that's how it went.
Yeah,
That's cool.
and we thought, like we could do that. We could have built beds in an afternoon and just kind of plopped them in there, and you know, the community
Hope for the best.
and hope for the best,
Right.
right? Like that's certainly a
Yeah.
strategy. But given a lot of different factors, we realized that we really wanted to make sure this was what the community wanted. And we embarked on kind of good old-fashioned community organizing, door knocking, and doing a survey in both English and Spanish. And throughout the course of the fall, we spoke to more than 100 residents.
Right in that neighborhood.
Right in that
general,
neighborhood,
yeah.
right, all along Connecticut Avenue and all of the little streets between Connecticut and Jefferson, and Truman and Blackhall, and Garfield, which kind of make up that neighborhood, which we've called Lower Connecticut, because it's the lower end of Connecticut. And so through that, community leadership arose and stakeholders emerged, and we have this really dynamic design team, which kind of started out with all of these huge ideas: a basketball court and a splash pad and this and that and blueberry bushes and a tree house.
Okay,
and
so how much land is it? About a quarter of an
it's
acre
a
or
quarter
something?
acre, yeah. And so we've had to sort of
Con College too, like
right, and the Connecticut
it's another
College.
merch piece too.
Yep, Connecticut College is a class in Andrea Wolensack's class. I forget what the class was in. Got involved in helping us make design elements out of cardboard, all of these little pieces, so we really could envision the space and move things around, and community members could project their vision onto, you know, something tangible and kind of mediate the big schemes and plans through the reality of the space and the financial limitations that we were under. So it was a really exciting process. AME Walls Zion Church was a key partner in that. Other community members, renters, landlords, homeowners, all really came together around this. So we've had incredible buy-in. The city has been very supportive, putting in water and doing some tree kind of pruning and paying closer attention to the space. The police department has been meeting with us around sort of community concerns about security and criminal activity in the community. So we've really done this. I feel like Fresh has done a really great job of kind of building community, which is one of our buckets of work around growing food and working with young people for this. So we're excited to start this growing season with the Lower Connecticut community. And as I said at the beginning, you know, we'll be filling beds with soil tomorrow night if people want to come by.
And that's Wednesday.
That's Wednesday the 17th at 5 o'clock, 5 to 7.
At the corner of McDonald and
Connecticut. Bring your shovels.
And many of you probably have never been there, but it's kind of a growing community.
It's a great community, and you know, most New Londoners have no reason to keep going straight on Connecticut after Garfield, where Garfield and Blackhall and Connecticut all intersect. But if you keep going straight down Connecticut, you come into this, essentially this little cul-de-sac of a community, and it's very green. There are a lot of kids, it's a lot of families, and people are really, really excited to see something beautiful emerge in this lot, which has been kind of vexing the city of New London, the Parks Department, the Police Department, city leadership for a really long time. When Fresh first went there, the first person I interacted with was like, well, oh, so New London finally remembered us, you know, and yes, right now, you know, and we'll be hearing a lot more from the Connecticut Avenue community moving forward, and I'm really excited about that.
So one more neighborhood that we can strengthen. Well, we have like 2 minutes left. So in the last couple minutes, just let people know how they can get in touch with you, how they can be supportive of Fresh's activities.
Great.
Membership as well.
Membership. People can become members of Fresh New London. We're doing a big drive right now, your time and treasure, and really trying as Fresh to value that. So that's one thing. So if you came to the garden on Saturday to buy plants, you could also join and become a member of Fresh. Every Saturday from 9 to 1, folks are welcome to volunteer and come work with us, either at McDonald Park or at Mercer Street. And you can check in with us by emailing info@freshnewlondon.org or getting in touch. There's a contact feature on our website, freshnewlondon.org. You can also
And you
just
do send out e-blasts if a person
And-
signs
Sign
up.
up for an e-blast
and we send
you'll
out
know.
a super e-blast
Yeah.
on a monthly basis.
More than monthly sometimes, you know, with different
Well,
things,
it's
you know.
it can be a busy city.
It's a busy place, New
Fresh
London.
does a lot.
So we really do encourage folks to come on out and get involved, get your fingernails dirty, and do some work with us.
Joining up with membership, you will, at the plant sale, you will get a free plant if you become a member. There's different, amounts of money you can donate. It's pretty open. And you also, what is the other bonus? 5%?
5% off of all merch.
5% off of all merch, which is this fancy stuff, and a free plant.
And a free plant.
Wow.
So become a member.
So hopefully we will see you all on Saturday. I think we're out of time. I'm just going to do a very quick plug for Neighbor Day, Riverside Park Picnic on Sunday from 10 to 1.
This
It's
Sunday.
actually our
This
city's
Sunday, too.
holiday, Sunday the 21st.
Okay.
It's our
It
New
is a
London
busy city.
official holiday by ordinance of celebrating community. So
Cool.
we're going to be doing that. So we'll see you many places over the weekend.
Yep.
And thank you, Liz and Frida, for coming on.
Thank you, Rana.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.